In early April of 1968, few could have imagined how abruptly history would turn. On April 4 of that year, a life that had already reshaped the United States came to an end. Martin Luther King Jr. had traveled to Memphis, Tennessee, to support sanitation workers who were on strike. Their struggle represented a widening phase of his movement, one that had moved beyond desegregation of public spaces and into demands for economic justice, labor rights, and opposition to the Vietnam War. The evening before his death, King spoke at Mason Temple. The address would later be remembered as one of the most prophetic speeches of the civil rights era, reflecting both resolve and an awareness of danger. The following afternoon, as King stood on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel, a single rifle shot struck him. Emergency responders rushed him to St. Joseph's Hospital, where doctors attempted life-saving measures. Those efforts were unsuccessful, and he was pronounced dead later that day. News of the assassination spread rapidly. Cities across the nation experienced grief, unrest, and anger. In the days that followed, law enforcement agencies traced a path that led to James Earl Ray, a fugitive who had fled the United States and was arrested at London's Heathrow Airport on June 8, 1968. Ray later entered a guilty plea in March of 1969 and received a sentence of 99 years in prison. That plea avoided a public trial and left many questions unresolved. From the beginning, doubts surrounded the official account. King had been under extensive government surveillance for years. Federal authorities viewed his opposition to the Vietnam War and his alliances with labor and poor people movements as increasingly destabilizing. Segregationists, local power structures, and other interests openly regarded him as a threat. These conditions formed the backdrop for theories suggesting that the assassination involved more than a lone individual. Two primary interpretations emerged. One argued that James Earl Ray had not acted alone and may have been manipulated or used as a stand-in for others. Another suggested a broader collaboration involving criminal figures, local officials, and elements within government institutions. Conflicting testimony arose concerning the location of the shot, the handling of physical evidence, and reports of additional sounds or activity near the scene. Over time, the evidentiary record appeared fragmented rather than definitive. In 1979, the House Select Committee on Assassinations revisited the killings of both King and President John F. Kennedy. After reviewing the available evidence, the committee concluded that King's death was likely the result of a conspiracy. While it did not identify all responsible parties, the finding acknowledged significant investigative gaps and inconsistencies in the original inquiry. Further controversy followed in the 1990s. In 1993, Lloyd Jowers, who owned a business near the Lorraine Motel, publicly claimed involvement in a plot to kill King. In 1999, members of the King family supported a civil lawsuit in Memphis seeking public accountability rather than criminal punishment. After hearing testimony, a jury found Jowers and unnamed others liable in a conspiracy that led to King's death. For the family, the verdict represented recognition that the assassination involved more than a single individual. That conclusion did not settle the matter. In 2000, the U.S. Department of Justice released a report stating that it found insufficient evidence to support the conspiracy claims or pursue criminal charges. James Earl Ray, who had repeatedly sought a new trial after recanting his plea, died in prison in 1998. Multiple investigations, court proceedings, and media inquiries produced partial answers, but no complete resolution. What remains clear is the broader context in which the assassination occurred. King was a charismatic leader challenging entrenched political, economic, and social systems. Dissent was increasingly treated as a threat, and the nation itself was deeply divided. The events of April 4, 1968 continued to prompt questions about accountability, institutional responsibility, and the cost of speaking forcefully for change. Decades later, the assassination remains less a closed case than an ongoing examination of truth and power. The unanswered questions, the conflicting conclusions, and the enduring impact of King's work ensure that the story remains part of America's unresolved history, a continuing reflection on justice, memory, and the